Pakistan is moving towards resuming trade ties with India. It's the latest sign of easing tensions between the two neighbours. Diplomatic ties were downgraded in 2019 after New Delhi revoked the autonomy of the disputed state of Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan also suspended trade ties with India. We have coverage tonight from both sides of the border. First, let's talk to Maya Liuto. She's in Islamabad. Maya, why the move now to resume these trade ties?
So this comes after the February ceasefire agreement between both militaries with regard to the line of control in Kashmir, where both countries have frequently accused each other of violations. There were more than 7,000 incidents of crossfire since August 2019. And since the agreement, we've seen a softening of rhetoric from both sides and letters sent by both prime ministers to each other. The resumption of limited trade ties comes as a relief, especially for the textile sector, which has been urging the government to allow cotton imports from India. There has been an acute shortage of cotton in Pakistan. Production has been down because of monsoon rains and pest attacks last year. The textile industry accounts for 60% of Pakistan's export earnings. The pandemic has hit the Pakistani economy hard, and allowing imports from India will boost the textile industry. However, some say this decision might hurt the country's own cotton farmers, but largely it is seen as a positive move.
So, Maya, are diplomatic ties likely to follow suit?
There is some cautious optimism that diplomatic ties might be resumed as well. The Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan said in response to his Indian counterpart's letter that Pakistan desires a peaceful and cooperative relationship with India, but peace depends on resolving outstanding issues such as Kashmir. Today, the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said that he has observed positive developments in Indian attitudes toward Pakistan, and the countries are headed towards a positive trajectory of ties. The foreign ministers of both countries did not meet today at the Heart of Asia conference in Dushanbe, but they avoided pointing fingers at each other in their speeches. Qureshi also pointed out that unlike on previous occasions, the Indian foreign minister did not criticize Pakistan at the conference, and these are all positive and productive developments. And some experts say that the new U.S. administration might also be playing a role in pushing the two countries to resume ties amid flailing Afghan peace talks.
Maya, thank you very much for that. Maya Liuto there in Islamabad.
For the Indian perspective, Neha Punya joins us live from New Delhi. Neha, a major step in thawing frozen relations.
Absolutely, Stephen. A step that's taken nearly 2 years in the making, and it's something that is a win-win situation for both countries, something that the bitter rivals rarely find themselves in a position to benefit from. India is the world's largest producer of cotton and the second largest producer of sugar, and there have been surplus stock that India has been dealing with that's been exerting pressure on its own domestic market. So exports to its neighbour will help relieve some of that pressure, and it will also benefit Pakistan when it comes to dealing with inflation and a shortage in stock at the home front. But there have been several steps that have led to this moment. One, of course, is the joint statement by the militaries of both countries, a rare joint statement to uphold the 2003 ceasefire along the contested border in Kashmir. The two prime ministers writing letters to each other saying they want to take this relationship forward and not make it backward looking. And you also had the two sides holding talks to discuss water sharing for the Indus River for the first time in 3 years. So certainly a welcome move. India has not officially commented on this yet, but before this, when asked whether India wants to resume bilateral trade with Pakistan, India had said it wants normal relations with Islamabad on all counts, but diplomatic ties still have been downgraded and have not been spoken of by either side.
And what are India's biggest sticking points then that still need to be worked out?
There's only one word answer to that, Stephen. That's the question of Kashmir, something that both Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Imran Khan have alluded to in those letters they've written to each other in the last few weeks. You had Prime Minister Modi saying that India wants peaceful ties with its neighbour, but that cannot happen if there's an atmosphere of terror, making a reference to the cross-border terrorism India frequently accuses Islamabad of. And Similarly, Imran Khan saying that the only way there can be a sustained peace in South Asia is when the question of Kashmir is addressed. Both countries have fought 3 wars over it. There's repeated cross-border violations over the question of Kashmir as well. And that's really at the center of this several decade-long dispute between both countries. And there's no talk of that yet because both sides stake claim to Kashmir in full, but only govern parts of it. And they still don't see eye to eye over that question, which is why most experts say that this peace might be short-lived. They're hoping they're wrong. But in the past, we've seen this before. There's been progress as far as thawing of bilateral ties is concerned, but any sort of skirmish along the border or a terror attack sets both countries back and diplomatic ties back by several years.
All right, Mary, thanks for that update. Neha Punia reporting from New Delhi.